You're in the Business Insurance Zone with me, Steve Savant, syndicated financial columnist and contributing author to Backroom Technician. This week on The Biz, the Video Sales Soap Opera Series 2. And on today's show, Consumer Estate Planning with special co-host and co-creator of Selling Technologies, Michael Maionardi.
When it comes to life insurance, annuities, long-term care, disability, or group pension plans, we're the news you can use.
Well, welcome everyone to the Business Insurance Zone. I'm your host, Steve Savant. We're broadcasting to a nationwide audience of financial advisors right here in Fountain Hills, Arizona, home of America's largest fountain. And with me today, yes, the same name as Jerry's name last week, we have Michael Maionardi. Hey, Michael, how you doing?
How are you? Good to see you.
Well, I'm just in love with I got a brothers team here doing Hollywood issues, soap opera issues on insurance. And I mean, to me, this is like way out there. I think I'm the edge, and then I meet guys like you, and I say, no, this is the cutting edge marketing issue. Now, it isn't like you guys invented this, 2 years ago. You've been on the street now for what, about a good 10 years?
Oh, it's probably even longer than that. I mean, the gestation of the thing was probably 30 years in the making, developing the skill set. But I would say really the focus on insurance and financial services has probably been closer to almost 20 years.
You have a major player that you partnered with. You don't have to mention their name anymore because they're not paying us anything for it, right? But you had a major partner. You did significant sales because of this.
Yeah, I really think it changed the whole paradigm on how the insurance program was approached. It became more about a storytelling scenario where we really didn't lead with product, and that really changed the perception of the advisor in the mind of the consumer.
Well, I took one of the business killers, because all this week we're going to be talking about family matters. I took business killers and I threw it on the internet and I put it on all our distribution outlets, almost 40 channels, to see what kind of traffic. And everybody was all over it. They said, Steve, is this a new technology that you guys are doing? Well, we're bringing it to the table, but we didn't invent it. Jerry and Michael did. And I want you to know that this is where we're going, because everybody says, Steve, we see your videos, we see the traffic on them, we see the number of downloads, embedded forward emails. We know that video is the place. I mean, YouTube. I mean, how big is that? But think about this, going to your practice and sending this to a gatekeeper. 90% of the gatekeepers in America are women. And they're going to be watching what, and I consider, the soap opera introduction into a concept. Today's concept we're going to be showing is consumer estate planning. This is a perfect example of this. And when I look at this, I'm thinking, this is the new idea. Vignettes, about 90 seconds, some of them are about almost 2 minutes. Little vignettes that actually evoke emotion about the financial challenge that we're actually focusing on in that specific vignette. Now, when you guys invented this, idea, tell me what you were thinking, because you weren't in our business. You came from a completely different industry.
No, the thing that happened with us was we were a closely held family-owned business, so we were approached constantly by advisors who, we were the prime target for them, and we understood that. But because we had an interest in what they were doing, we really started to look at how are they approaching us, and it was always a product-focused approach. And it didn't resonate with us because they really hadn't established the need. So we said, why don't we take a step backward and figure out a different way to really engage with the business owner without talking about product. And really that became the gestation of the first program, the Business Killer program.
Well, I kind of coined this last week, and it's been all over the internet, that this is really like insurance soap opera. And really, it is really dynamic, and it brings the kind of Hollywood material, really quality. And I think this is great. And I mentioned this last week, I sent it out and snagged a $24,000 buy-sell agreement off this out of California. The guys just looked at this tape and said, the clip, and they said, Steve, this is what we need to do. Well, without any further ado, let's go to one of the examples. The example we're going to do today right now is the consumer estate planning. Watch this video.
There's plenty of pie left if anyone's still hungry.
Beth, I don't think any of us need any more food.
The meal was delicious, Mom.
Thank you, Jen.
So, Mike, how's business?
Business would be a lot better had Michael been able to sell that purchasing agent at Johnson Transport last week.
Please, Bill, it's a holiday.
Business is good, Alex.
You know, if I didn't have to go to that damn funeral last Monday, I could have gone to the meeting with Michael.
What funeral? Who died?
Well, Jim Sorensen, Sorensen Engineering.
You two were old friends, weren't you, Dad?
Yeah.
Actually, he wasn't that old.
Jim was 60, 4 years younger than your father.
Elizabeth, please.
I spoke with Jim's wife after the service. She told me that she didn't think she was going to be able to keep the house.
Well, the man had all his money tied up in his business. He didn't know he was going to die last week.
Dad, I know we talked before about estate planning and having some formal documents drawn up for the business, you know, just in case.
Yeah, Dad, you're not getting any younger. You're gonna have to retire someday.
Here we go again.
Bill, you brought these same topics up after the service. You know, maybe if we had some kind of plan in place, retirement wouldn't seem so far out of the question.
Well, you know, why is it that every holiday season we end up talking about my retirement and the future of the business?
Honey, because it's the only time we can all get together.
Michael, that was a huge clip. I loved a consumer estate planning. I think about estate planning, it's so huge, and we just distilled it down into 90 seconds.
Well, what's the real interesting point there? For me, I'll tell you what it is it's at the dinner. See that, and that's I think the punctuated point there. The family cannot separate the business from the family.
Unbelievable. And by the way, we have the same challenges when we're talking to these kind of families. When we come back from the break, we're going to continue talking about consumer estate planning and watch another powerful video with co-host Michael Maynardi. And don't forget to try Family Matters absolutely free for 30 days. Just hop out to our site, www.familymatters.bz/thebiz.
You're listening to the insurance industry's #1 resource for products, planning ideas, carrier information, and interviews you can use. When it comes to life insurance, annuities, long-term care, disability, or group pension plans, we're the news you can use.
Did you know the average 401k runs out of money just 7 to 8 years into retirement? Time Magazine, the Wall Street Journal, and many other publications have warned of the difficulty of saving with a 401k. But what if there was a way to create tax-free lifetime retirement income with no stock market risk? Good news, there is.
You know, living in fear of the next market dive is not the way I want to live my life.
Why would I go out there and take on risk when I don't need to?
I have a lot less stress knowing I can't lose any more of my retirement savings in the stock market.
Call now to receive your free, no-obligation analysis of what this retirement vehicle could do for you, a comparison to your current retirement plan, and a free video that explains this exciting opportunity. Start planning a retirement you can enjoy instead of worrying about future tax increases and stock market losses. Creating income that will last your entire life is the most important thing you'll ever do. Take control of your future. Call now for your free analysis, comparison, and video.
Well, welcome back to the Business Insurance Zone. I'm Steve Savant with Michael Maynardi. And remember, you can order today's materials at thebiz.tv. And while you're out there, click on the backroom technician icon on our BlizzBlog for the free 30-day free trial for the best needs analysis, education material. And remember, I'm a contributor to it, and I think you'll like some of the things we do on life and annuities. That's my little 2 cents. And just a heads up, before moving forward with anything on the show, always consult your tax advisor or legal counsel, as well as your broker-dealer compliance officer if you're FINRA licensed. We're talking about consumer estate planning, but we're not talking about it. We're watching it on video that was produced by Michael Maynardi and his brother Jerry. Michael, I want to tell you something. This is hot to me. This is a great idea, market penetration, gatekeeper penetration concept. Now, I noticed that on this specific one, you have kind of a follow-up sequel to it that we're going to show in a little bit called Talk to the Advisors.
Right. The difference between the Family Matters program and some of the other programs we produced is the audience actually can redirect the storyline. So based upon how they see the first scenario play out, they can choose the best, the worst, or the typical scenario. Now, they don't know that, but that's what's veiled behind each of those pieces of video.
So, okay, and we're going to see one of these, but in that regard, so I'm showing the first piece, the way we did in the first segment, but now when we show, we could have 3 different scenarios.
Correct.
How do I read that as an advisor? How do I know which one to pivot to?
Well, actually, the audience is going to choose what to pivot to, and what that tells the advisor is it really gives them a good gauge of what's going on in the room, what's really the underlying motivation there for the audience that's watching the program.
Well, I like that because it gives you kind of a different scenario. What if your whole crowd was really on one of those answers? So we have 3 different sequences, right, that we can play. Now, why did you come up with this? Because I'm kind of curious, was that just because you kept seeing in public seminars and other presentations that there wasn't enough options available? There were not enough alternatives?
From our research that we did in the developing of this program, we all know family businesses are really unique. They've got a unique amount of issues going on behind there, and they really have trouble extricating the family from the business. So we said, how do we help the audience really recognize where are their issues, and if they have a problem, is it in one of these scenarios? What that does for the advisor is it really gives them the opportunity to figure out how do I help them fix this.
Now, when I'm looking at Family Matters as a complete series, Is it all built like that, where you have, like we did in our first segment, here is the issue, the challenge, the problem, and then here are 3 different avenues to go down?
Yes, each of the vignettes we're going to see is the first is the main vignette, which essentially introduces the topic. Then there'll be the follow-up vignettes based on just some selections we made to redirect the storyline.
Now, on all these are on your packaging on Amanda too, right? I mean, this is all one big platform.
They are. In the Amanda program, the advisor has the ability to isolate one of these segments and send it out to a prospect or a client if they recognize there's an issue there. But keep in mind, all of the programs we've developed are really reflective of a business strategy. And the programs just help facilitate the strategy.
Well, when I think about looking at different ways to do presentations, getting in front of somebody, I'm sending that video out. Maybe I'm sending it out as a precursor to a meeting. I'm just trying to get a meeting. And when I send that out, the response says, boy, this really shook me up. Like this one case that I talked about in the first segment. I was approached by one of the potential buyers. They're buying out. 3 young men are buying out the owner. And in that scenario, I said, well, here, I'm going to send you. So I send it out. And they look at that and they go, wow, what are the alternatives? Tell me what you're trying to get done. Now I have another video. Oh, well, here's another video that actually addresses that and specific to your situation. I want you to watch this. This again is called Talk to the Advisor. It's one of the 3 choices. We just chose this one for the clip. Go ahead and roll it.
Bill, I'm just not clear on what you want us to do.
Well, I'm not sure either, Frank. I just know I'm trying to get Elizabeth and the kids off my back. Ever since Jim Sorensen died, they've been pestering me about getting my personal and business affairs in order.
Bill, I did update your will last year, and Frank and I worked up an estate plan for you at the same time. But you've been reluctant to meet with the insurance agent to finalize the documents.
I'm aware of that, and Beth reminds me at least once a week.
Keep in mind, Bill, if you die, the only way to pay your estate taxes is with that insurance policy.
I realize that, but I'm just not sure I'm ready to give up control of the business.
It's not a matter of control. If you die before those papers are signed, your family will have no choice but to sell the business to pay the estate taxes.
Bill, Tom is right. You've really got to deal with this now.
I know, but I don't know how to divide up my estate between Beth and the kids.
It's all spelled out in the plan, Bill.
All right. I'll meet with the insurance agents in the next 2 weeks. Then we can sign the papers.
You're making the right decision, Bill. You just can't let this drag on any longer.
That was a great little advisor. Tell me about why you chose that one for this show. I was kind of curious.
That is actually the typical choice where the advisor really, they don't know what to do in their own mind, so they talk to their advisors and then frankly, they do nothing because they're not clear on what the next step should be.
This is another part. We're showing you now by video what is the next step. I love the chronology and the way this is packaged. Well, that's our show for today. Remember, you can follow me on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, or email me at steve@thebiz.tv. That's the Buzz on the Biz for today. You've been in the zone, the Business Insurance Zone.
You're listening to the insurance industry's #1 resource for products, planning ideas, carrier information, and interviews you can use. When it comes to life insurance, annuities, long-term care, disability, or group pension plans, we're the news you can use.